In last week's video, I taught you how to become a better defender. So now you defended, you neutralized the point. Now what? Attack, of course. Take over the point. So in this video, I'm showing you how to turn defense into offense. Let's get going. A lot of times players don't even realize that they changed the momentum of the point. They're kind of like, whew, yay, now that I ran right back, left, center somewhere, I have a little bit of breathing room. And they take a little bit of a mental break. And that is what really good players don't do. They see immediately that they have their opponent at the ropes and they jump onto offense. So here's what you want to look for. You can start playing more offensive when you're on balance, meaning that you can split step, low body, really good low base, and you don't have as much of a distance to run to the ball. So if you can take 2-3 aggressive steps to the ball, that is a good sign that you're in bounds. That's when you can be more aggressive. What's another weapon that you have to put pressure on your opponent? Hit as hard as I possibly can, coach? Nope, not hitting harder. Take time away from your opponent. Once you change the momentum of the point, most likely when you played defense, you were further back behind the baseline and you were just happy to get the balls back. Now, if you're taking that little mental break and you're not coming forward when you can and you're letting balls drop, that allows my opponent to reset the point. So regular rally ball, not moving up, just kind of hanging out back here and letting the ball come to me. And that gives my opponent plenty of time to regroup. I mean, I'm still hitting good quality balls, but I'm not really doing anything to put pressure on him. Let's change it. And I'm forcing more errors. And as you hear by me breathing hard, this is really exhausting. So when you're deciding that you are taking the ball sooner, you also have to consider that you have less preparation time. So you may have to work a lot harder, but it's gonna pay off. So that's the time factor. That is how you rush your opponents. Word of caution though, if you're trying to take the balls on the rise or the apex, the top of the bounce, what you don't wanna do is force yourself to short hop the ball. Let the ball rise into your strike zone. And for most of us, a very comfortable strike zone is hip high to shoulder. If you're hitting anywhere down here or anywhere up here, we're gonna lose control. Now, we've all seen pros successfully hitting forehands from here, meaning behind the dumbbells alley on the ad side. Of course, for lefties, the other way around. Rafa takes the forehand on the next court over. But can we do that too? To my mind, yes. As club player, as mere mortals, we can look for more forehands. You want to use your forehand more. Most players hit the ball harder with forehands. Most players can create more topspin on the forehand, and you can create more angles on the forehand. But I think there's a way more important reason why recreational players, club players, should use more forehands is. Think about how we teach tennis. If you've ever seen a beginner lesson or intermediate beginner, we always start working on the forehand. We always end up working more on forehands. Most players are more confident, comfortable with their forehand. So when you start to take over the point, use the shot that you like more. Start to look for forehands when you have to take one or just two steps around your backhand. You're running around your backhand. So make it a goal when you practice. Everything that bounces about a racket length to the left of the midline, try to hit forehands. If you successfully defend it, you took over the point, you are starting to force short balls. And if the short balls are really short, come to net. Yes, look to play volleys. You might say that your volleys are not that good, and that might very well be the case. Even if you lose points, you're investing into the future. And you're actually doing that in two ways. One short-term, one long-term. So short-term is, if you're starting to attack balls that are sitting somewhere around here, you're signaling your opponent that they can't just hit the ball into just anywhere. You're going to attack it. And That forces them to hit more precise shots, and that way you force errors. When you're coming in and you are covering the net correctly, you are forcing them to pass you on the dime. Maybe they do that once, maybe twice. It's going to be really difficult for them over a long period of time, the duration of a match, to hit passing shots. The only time you're going to the middle when you're coming in is if you approach down the middle, which might not be a bad option because it takes away angles for your opponent. If you attack either side, that is where you follow the ball. So if you're attacking the ad side, you're shading over ever so slightly to the ad. If you're going to the deuce court, you shade over to the deuce court. And as the long-term investment, you're adding another tactical tool to your toolbox. You're ready to expose when your opponent gives you gifts. A couple of scenarios why people might not be as confident coming into net. Number one is they're not closing far enough. Then we have the overclosers. We'll talk about that in a second. But where you want to be for your first volley is inside the service box. That will most likely allow you to hit a volley at least above your hip. Anything below, of course, is really difficult to do. But force them to give you higher balls by closing in appropriately. Of course, on the opposite end, we have the net rushers. If you have your belly button up at net, then it doesn't take a really good lob for your opponent to lob. Not the best overhead, but at least I didn't invite him to have the entire backcourt open if I'm overclosing. If you missed last week's video, here it is. And in that video, you'll learn how to give yourself the chance to take over the point and do all the things that we talked about today.